Hello and welcome to Purchase Broadcast Studios. I'm your host, Paige Mers.
And I'm your host, Emmerich Tabor. Thank you for joining us here today.
The 2024 election has finally ended. Vice President Harris stepping in to take over the top of the ticket from President Biden with just 107 days to introduce herself and make her pitch to Americans, 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life, and hundreds of millions of dollars spent promoting the candidates and their visions for America. Many Americans, and many here at Purchase College, are coming to terms with the realities of what the next 4 years under a Trump administration will mean for them. While some students expressed a sense of fear of what is yet to come, other students took a more wait-and-see interpretation. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Josiah Chumpung has more on how Purchase College students reacted to the re-election of President-elect Donald Trump.
To the White House after defeating Vice President Kamala Harris by clinching 312 electoral votes. Nearly 2 weeks later, he continues to lead Harris in the popular vote, although in recent days his margin has shrunk as votes continue to be tallied across the country. If he wins the popular vote, he will be the first Republican presidential nominee to do so since President Bush in 2004. Trump will not only win the White House, but the Republican Party is set to control both chambers of Congress for the first time since 2018 and have a conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court. In the last few days, he has met with President Biden at the White House and begun to list his nominees for cabinet positions, with some facing scrutiny such as Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, who is vying to be the next Attorney General of the United States. Throughout the campaign, Purchase students were flooded with campaign text messages with campaign promises and donations. Trump promises to carry out the largest deportation of migrants, tackle inflation, dismantle the Department of Education, and allow states to continue to make laws regarding a woman's reproductive health, just to name a few. While Trump continues his preparation to take over the White House, Purchase students are still coming to terms with how they felt on election night and what the next 4 years may have in store.
I don't know, I just had so much hope and it was just really disappointing. And then I went to class and it was just really hard to focus and go on with my day because, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of fear and anxiety, and that's obviously a hard state to live in.
Like, it was weird having to go through life as if nothing had happened, especially being a queer, non-binary, feminine presenting person. I'm less terrified because I'm white, but I am scared.
Trump has railed against many pieces of legislation passed by the Biden administration. However, some Purchase students remain fearful of what Trump's policies could mean for them, their safety, and even what could happen to the lives and livelihoods of their loved ones.
I'm really scared for working class families. I'm scared that because of tariffs and stuff he puts on things, that the price of things will go up, like groceries. Like, I know a lot of people already have trouble, like supporting their families and getting groceries and making sure their kids have meals.
And although some students on campus are fearful of what life will be like after Trump's inauguration, others have opted to remain calm and reflect on what the previous 4 years under Trump were like in order to neutralize any fears that they may have.
As a student, I can't see me as a student being affected quite as much over the next 4 years. I feel like we're going to see shifts in policy in the way that the United States is governed more in other areas of politics.
And although some students on campus are fearful of what life will be like under a Trump term, others have opted to remain calm, and some have even given some advice to other Purchase students on how to cope with what life could be like over the next 4 years.
Again, protesting, bringing awareness, donations, anything can help. And thank God we're in New York State in this instance, but for the people who aren't, there are still ways to leave whatever state you're in and to go and to seek more and to seek better help, because better help is deserved.
Stay strong. There's
power in numbers. I mean, raise your community, raise awareness, vote. If you can just help somebody register to vote, if you can just do whatever you can, make sure you're registered, I think we can work together in these next 4 years to make a better choice.
While the future isn't set in stone, and with over 2 months to go before Trump takes the oath of office, it is clear some Purchase students have some healing to do and decisions to make as it pertains to their futures. This also means Trump has a lot more work to do to continue his appeal to college students across the country, but especially here on Purchase campus. Josiah Chumpung, Purchase Broadcast Studios.
The 2024 election won by Donald Trump over Democratic candidate Kamala Harris on November 5th brought on some post-election anxiety all over the country. The Washington Post was told by the Trevor Project, which handles a crisis line for LGBTQ+ youth, saw a 125% increase in calls, texts, and messages on the day after the election. Colleges like University of Princeton reported that anxiety among students was up, and the University of Texas canceled classes on November 8th. Purchase College was one of the campuses that saw an increase in student anxiety post-election. Purchase broadcast correspondent Shia Silberstein was there to cover the story.
With the 2024 election results confirmed as Republican candidate Donald Trump won with 312 electoral votes and was elected as the 47th President of the United States, students all over Purchase College were up with anxiety over the results and what it could mean for their future.
So post-election, it has been definitely a bit of a roller coaster, especially when so many things have been going on. Like, so many of my classes were talking about the election the day after it, and so many people have either been scared, distressed, worried, like just in general, like very, very like distraught about the fact that Trump is back. And honestly, in my opinion, I kind of had a feeling that he was going to return, but I really didn't want to be wrong, and I really wanted to be wrong. And once I was right, it just felt wrong, because like I really didn't want it to be the truth, and here we are now.
The Counseling and Behavioral Center reported to me that there was an uptick of students that came to the counseling center post-election about their anxiety. Well, the biggest reasons being that the students fear that the opportunity for self and loved ones to get a range of safety, security, health, and well-being needs met via the mechanism that have been put in place in the last 4 years will be lost in the next presidential term, as one of the biggest parts of the Trump campaign was defunding the Department of Education.
Yeah, college helped because in some classes we had a discussion about post-election and what our thoughts were on the future of the United States.
To inform students for how they can get help, the Counseling and Behavioral Center sent out a campus-wide email on how to get in contact with them for the single and group sessions that they offer free for students. Also included was the weekly stress-reducing events that they hold from Monday to Friday, which includes yoga, meditations, and knit extensions, which are held at the Harbor Center and in the Fort Austin building.
The previously neglected Purchase Reproductive Justice Garden is currently being restored as part of a student's senior project. The garden, which is located outside of the Visual Arts Building, is meant to be student-ran and have plants and herbs known for their positive reproductive health qualities, such as blueberries, which can help boost iron, a vital mineral for women during their menstrual cycle. Volunteers assisted with clearing out weeds of the area in early September, completely transforming the space. Several years ago, the Purchase Reproductive Justice Garden was installed in the plaza outside the Visual Arts Building by a visiting artist. It was focused on traditional and holistic medicinal practices involving reproductive health benefits. Over time, however, the garden was forgotten about and turned into a desolate area filled only with weeds. Photography major Melanie Nelson has taken on the restoration of the garden as part of her senior project.
So I'm working on the reproductive garden, and as a photography major, I'm like documenting the process. But the reason I chose it was that I was kind of, well, like throughout my like freshman through sophomore year, I was coming back and forth through this area, and there used to be like a sign that kind of talked about this, but I didn't know what it was, and it was also just like completely overgrown with weeds. So I was like, but sometime in my junior year, I was talking to someone, and they were explaining what it used to be, and I was like, it was amazing. It was a visiting artists came to the Richard and Dolly Mass, and they had a show called How to Perform an Abortion. And basically, the show was set up like a abortion clinic. So like they documented all that stuff. And then the garden itself was full of like different plants that can induce abortion, or also plants that can help with like menstrual cramps or alleviate some of the like morning sickness and different pains and stuff. And I was just like, that's such a beautiful concept. And I was like, why did it not get maintained?
Nelson began researching different herbs last year and has been teaching herself how to garden as well. With the help of some friends and volunteers, the project got underway in September when weeds and invasive species were all cleared out of the area. The garden has evoked an emotional response from Nelson and those who have helped her, as many are fearful over what the future for women's rights looks like in the U.S.
Even though I'm really happy that I think, was it Prop 2 got passed, which allowed, I think, abortion rights to be enshrined in New York, it's still very worrisome that other places right now are having abortion being completely banned or being about to be banned. And it's just very, I think it's nice that here there's a way for us to like take control over our reproductive rights. And I'm here as in like the garden, like this is a way that's like starting up that we can use. But it's just really scary that in other places, people don't have resources like this. And they're probably gonna get further and further from those resources given the Trump administration and given the laws that are probably gonna get passed really soon.
Nelson plans on the garden being complete and fully functional by the end of the spring semester, hoping she gets to experience it for some time before she graduates. It will be open for students to go as they please, and they will be able to harvest herbs or help with maintenance. She created an Instagram account for the garden at Perch Reproductive Garden, which you could follow for updates and photos of the project.
For the past few years, the compost rocket behind the hub has been underutilized by administration. Previously only composting consumer waste from the hub, Robin Greger, the new composter master for this school year, has collaborated with SUNY Purchase Housing. For the past few weeks, a compost initiative in the old has started, in the future intending on expanding further to other apartments. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Jared Landeros has the story for us.
SUNY Purchase has had a compost rocket for a decade, but only recently has Robin Greger, the new compost master, accelerated the use of the rocket.
It's been pretty crazy recently. We are devising an entirely new composting system for student housing, like residential composting. Up until now, the rocket has only been used to process pre-consumer waste from the hub. So that's like peelings from a potato or something that people never even ate and then threw out. So this is a lot more waste that we're, putting to good use.
Every Sunday, Robin and her interns walk around the Old and collect compost bins. They bring the bins to the rocket and dump it inside the machine. As well, they add wood chips to the machine, then wash the compost bins and bring them back to the apartments.
And it is rotated by this arm every 1.5 hours, and it's also incrementally heated. So that's to encourage the microorganisms that are in it to start actually breaking it down into compost and not just garbage or compostable garbage. And so it does that, and from the time that you put in the food waste into the inlet, it takes 2 weeks for that food waste to come out the other end and be dumped out as processed compost. And you have to add in, for every bucket of food waste, you have to add in 1 bucket of wood chips. So it's like a combination of wood chips and food waste and turning and heating and all of that together is what ends up creating compost in this efficient way. Whereas normal compost would take much longer and require more steps.
Currently, active composting is only happening in the Old to test the process. Robin is hoping to expand to Alumni Village in the Commons in the future.
20 to 25% of waste in landfills is food waste. And I know that a lot of food gets wasted like every day. So turning waste into something that could be beneficial to the environment, I feel like that's just like really important. And it's the little things that count.
Thanks for tuning in today to Purchase Broadcast Studios. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to Purchase Broadcast Studios. Thanks for staying with us. Rutgers University community-based language learning course welcomes locals to an English conversation cafe, where all levels of learners gather at the New Brunswick Library to practice their skills with undergraduate students. I reported this story. On Monday, November 11th, the community-based language learning course held one of its 2 in-person meetings of the week. This course creates a hands-on learning environment that gives soon-to-be graduates real-world experiences, regardless of what their future looks like.
Sometimes they take these skills into like their future field. So, whether that be like we've had some students who go into become pharmacists or become, work in healthcare, and to really just develop the skills of working with the diverse community that we're in, working with multilingual learners, working with, participants who English is not their first language, which is the reality of a lot of our communities.
Students are paired with community members that are seeking to perfect their English, many coming from all different cultures and backgrounds. Conversations range in topics, such as discussing the weather or what each person was up to that day.
This time is the second time I attend to the Conversation Cafe here, this library. It's very, very interesting and very helpful, especially to self-confidence, to talking with my teacher.
The United States does not have a declared national language due to its roots of immigration and diversity, although English is widely used. About 22% of the population speaks a language other than English at home, making gatherings like the English Conversation Cafe extremely useful to those in need.
We have no language requirement. We have usually really interesting, diverse group of students who come from different backgrounds with their families often, or them speaking different languages, but really diverse, so not only Spanish.
I was in ESL for a long time when I came to America, because I'm from the Dominican Republic, so I wanted to help people because I have similar experience and similar background to that.
When I talk with another person, especially any person that's a native speaker, my self-esteem grows, or I need self-confidence to improve my English.
The English Conversation Cafe is held on Mondays and Fridays, and there is also a virtual session on Wednesdays. The link to sign up can be found on the Middlesex County Culture website.
It develops the communicative skills, but also sort of the social awareness and the care for working with the different members of our community and their families.
This is Paige Mers reporting from New Brunswick, New Jersey. Back to Purchase Broadcast Studios.
Purchase College's brand new Trading Card Game Club is fully formed and hosting meetings every week. The club is partnering with card stores for upcoming pre-release and card draft events. Ever think about getting into playing Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, One Piece card game, and more? Here's a great way to get started. I reported this story.
Do you believe in magic? No? Okay, well, these guys sure do. And cards. They believe in cards too. SUNY Purchase's newly formed Trading Card Game Club started up at the beginning of the semester and is now in full swing. After several very successful general interest meetings, club members can come to the full-blown weekly meetings every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the lobby of the CMFT building.
We just play a lot of cards. We play Magic the Gathering, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh! You name it, we play it. And we're also down to play new games, so if anybody's got card games that they like who hasn't come to the club yet and wants to bring something in, we're down to try things out.
I was really excited when we decided to start this club because I've been playing Magic for a year now, and I haven't really had anybody to play with except for my boyfriend, so it's nice to have a group of people to play with.
The club has grown week by week as new members find a space to share their hobbies with like-minded people. As many trading card game players can attest, finding a group of people to consistently play cards with for hours at a time is no small task. This club allows for people to come out of their shell and discover new interests.
I'm new in this club. I joined about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I feel really welcomed here. It's really fun. I learned new games. I only came here knowing one TCG, which was Pokemon, and they already taught me Magic and One Piece.
What I love about TCG Club is that it gives me a space to just nerd out. It's amazing to just come in every Sunday, play a lot of Magic, play a lot of One Piece, some Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very freeing.
The club prides itself on being a great space for beginners to learn how to play as well. Newcomers can be provided with decks to use, and the club is supportive of people printing out decks to try out while saving money. These are called proxies, and they hosted an event today to explain how to use them.
We like advanced players, we like beginners, we love beginners. It's fun to teach people how to play, and there's a couple of people in the club who love just teaching new players and getting new people into the game, so yeah, it's a good time.
They help you make a fake deck if you want to get into it for free without spending anything. And when you join, you get free Magic the Gathering cards and free dice.
It's very nice to have a space to come to every week to just have fun, chill, relax. It was especially relaxing after midterms, although I don't know if you would call Magic relaxing.
But even if you're not interested in Magic, we got so many people playing so many other games. If you like Pokemon, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you like One Piece, if you like some weird random trading card game that you found last week, you come over and you like play it. I think that's the fun part about this club, is that it's so wide variety that anyone can just come in and introduce a game or can pick up a game so easily, and everyone here is very accepting of it and willing to either learn or willing to teach.
Starting next week, Trading Card Game Club will be hosting new events during their meetings. A Magic the Gathering draft will be taking place on Sunday the 24th. Wondering what exactly a draft entails?
It's an event where everyone gets booster packs, and usually it's a paid event, but because of our club, you will be able to get these cards for free. So I think this is a really cool opportunity for our club. It's amazing. We've worked so hard for it.
A draft involves a booster box, and each player gets 3 booster packs that they open, and then you pass them around, and everybody picks out the cards that they want from the pack, and then everybody puts a deck together, and then there's like a tournament style situation where everybody plays against each other, and whoever wins at the end gets a couple prize packs or something of that nature.
And I'm really excited for the draft next week because I am really bad at draft. So it's going to be fun to play with people who are better than me and can help me learn how to draft better.
The club also plans on hosting pre-release events with the help of nearby stores, where club members can get access early to new cards and games before they are fully released to the public.
We are looking to do pre-release events in the near future, which is the same kind of deal, except it's a pre-release of a set that hasn't come out yet. So we're able to get access to those cards early by partnering with a game store, Undiscovered Realm, hopefully.
Interested in joining the club? Come to the CMFT building next Sunday from 1 to 8 p.m. and enjoy the festivities. The club gives out free Magic the Gathering cards and supplies to new members as well, and the e-board would love to see you there.
As the semester comes to a close, students anticipate annual party events in the Stude, such as Fall Fest. As Fall Fest filled the Stude on Saturday night, on Friday, WPSR's Pre-Fest fit into the Whitson side stage. With 90 students reported coming to this year's Pre-Fest, one can ask what makes Pre-Fest so worthwhile. Gracie Wenner reported this story for us.
On Friday, November 15th, WPSR presented Pre-Fest on the Whitson stage in the Stude at SUNY Purchase. Pre-Fest is an annual event that happens the night before Fall Fest, akin to Culture Shock, of annual parties thrown in the Stude building that feature live musical performances. What separates Pre-Fest from Fall Fest is that it features predominantly Purchase student performers. And WPSR is a student-organized service through the Purchase student government, meaning that the event is student-organized and student-led. As the PSGA continues to cycle through student leaders, with the recent impeachment of PSGA President Melanie Nelson and the election of Sophia Pelosi, I spoke with WPSR Director David Einhorn, about the importance of student-organized events.
It gives people a sense of involvement and seeing everyone show up, and it being sort of like more horizontal and not just like put together by like some people at the PSGA that you just haven't ever met. Like that is, I think that's important for the people involved, especially the performers. I can't speak for them, but I think it's good on their part too.
Even the t-shirts were printed on campus by Mount Olympus, another student-organized service through the Purchase student government. Jester Pizzon-Zare, a student within the Purchase Music Conservatory, performed on Friday.
I have a lot of friends who are like involved in actually making it happen. And so getting to look up and see like one of my closest friends or my roommates who are working sound like give me a thumbs up and tell me that the show went really well. It's really special. I feel like last year the events coordinators and the people like planning shows, I don't want to say that the people this year are not on top of it, because they are, but there was just more happening. If the STUD goes away, or if these events stop being planned, all of these artists on this campus lose this place where they can express themselves, which would really suck. Like also, there's so much more than it just being a space where you can showcase your music. People are learning real skills working there, and like there are all of these other small spaces and clubs and people that meet there. Mount Olympus is so important and like kind of crucial in the print shop. The tech workers are developing a skill set that is going to be like super important in the rest of their careers. And just like you get to learn more about the student body.
The Purchase Film Archive, a student-run club on campus, hosted a Halloween screening in the Choral Hall of the CMFT building. Among the films was House of Death, a rare lost film seen for the first time in decades. Using a vintage projector, the club brought these historic reels back to life. While there were minor quality issues, the films were impressively preserved, offering students a one-of-a-kind chance to experience cinematic history and celebrate Halloween with a spooky twist. Elise Ahmad reported this story for us.
At 7:30 p.m. on Halloween night, the Purchase Film Archive presented Ghost Keeper, a spooky flick from 1981, and House of Death from 1952, a never-before-seen lost film starring Boris Karloff as a special treat for all the horror history fans at Purchase. The event was sponsored by Canadian International Pictures and Vinegar Syndrome, a home video company that specializes in protecting and preserving genre film, just like the Purchase Film Archive. Students who attended the screening came dressed to the nines in their Halloween costumes.
We research mostly 16mm film, and we collect it either from people that donate, and then we inspect them, see if they are good to project or not, and we input it into our spreadsheets. I just think it's like really special. Like physical media is not something that everybody knows how to work with and even knows what it is. I've made some really good friends doing this. It's just a special skill to know, and you learn a lot, and you learn a lot of research skills. You get to watch some pretty cool films that other people might not have known about before. Learn about more history. We could lose things that way. With software, things could just be completely erased. There's been films where they've been canceled, and then all of a sudden it's like lost forever because someone just presses delete on a computer, rather than having physical media.
It's the proper thing to do. Visit my mother's people. My people.
Elizabeth. The Film Archive inspects and tries to maintain the quality of all the film reels Purchase comes across. These include old dance conservatory films, personal home videos, as well as performances by Purchase alumni. Although they do their best, there are many challenges that come with film archival work, such as Vinegar Syndrome, but the club members still continue in their mission of preserving and keeping record of these reels.
Oh my god, that is so cool! Wow.
The digital age of media is very scary. We see, even just like on Instagram Reels or TikTok, like those are parts of our history, as obscene or absurd as they may be, and they're being lost. Like the minute somebody removes it, deletes the post, it's gonna be gone forever. There's no sure or definite way to preserve these videos, and the same goes with streaming services. I mean, there would be no film history if there were no films left. I mean, preserving these films is just so essential. The mission of the club is very important to me. There's politics of preservation. Home videos, they're not being preserved in the same way that major Hollywood films are. So I love that our collection has a lot of those, like amateur films. They have films that major Hollywood studios would not be focusing on, because then in that way we are able to preserve the films of the previous purchase students, preserve the films of people in the community. We're able to do that. I absolutely love inspecting the films, and I mean, the joy that we get when we see the title card and we are able to just jump on the laptop and just investigate, find out what it is. If nothing comes up, we're like, we found this piece of history that who knows who else has seen this. It's such a beautiful feeling. I found an incredible community here with Maddie and Rebecca, and being able to teach interested members about that. It's, archival work is very underappreciated. And to have people interested, it makes my heart very happy. Like, yeah, it's just such a rewarding experience.
The Purchase Film Archive isn't just about preserving film, it's about sharing stories and connecting students with cinema's rich history. With each screening, they bring the past to life, one reel at a time.
As election results are sinking in, SUNY Purchase correspondent Emily Mickus asked some students what their thoughts on the election results.
As the election results are sinking in to college students, I asked some SUNY Purchase students what they thought about the results of the election.
The election was not the best. The election results, I would say I was very happy I voted, of course, as I think we all should have. But yeah, I didn't like the results. I'm clearly in a better mood now, you know, fake it till you make it. But I remember, yeah, I wasn't in the best mood instantly, like right after the results, or even during when the results were getting finalized and all the what is it called? All the votes were coming in. I was like, oh shit, like this is crazy. But no, it wasn't. I didn't really feel the best. Yeah.
To the election is I'm very scared for the people, and I'm worried for my friends, worried for myself. I'm not gonna have any rights as a Black queer woman. No right to abortion. Even though I'm in New York, it's still gonna be detrimental. But yeah, no right to abortion or right to marriage. You can't divorce your husband. You can't. No right to vote. So I can't vote until I'm 22, after college, right? And I'm saying these things as a political science major. It's really hard to see this happen and feel like you're watching the world crumble before you. And really, I hope that people get what they wanted, what they deserve, because they truly voted for someone that is a felon. At 34 felony charges, why is he sitting in the White House? He should be in jail, in a cell. I don't understand. Usually felons would be, put away already. Why are we still letting this man run the country? He's not fit. He's clearly not fit. There's so much evidence. There's even evidence of people burning the ballots and stuff. And a voter fraud where I heard that people were going around with iPads and stuff. Be careful. Why is this happening? But really, I just want people to be, cautious and just prepare yourself and defend yourself, have something. especially women, have like something to like protect yourself because it's dangerous out here. With the whole "your body, our choice" thing, like, are you joking? Yeah, no. And now this man is like Secretary of State or something. So, yeah, I have no words. I was very scared. My friends are scared. My trans friends were terrified. I had to talk to one of my friends for like a couple hours to calm her down because of like the severity of the situation. And it's really gonna affect everyone, even the Trump supporters. There's literally Latin Trump supporters being deported as we speak, which is very hypocritical. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now.
These election results and student reactions show just how divided and scared people are for the future of Trump in office. While we hope for the best, we still fear for the worst.
Thanks for joining us here today at Purchase Broadcast Studios. I've been your host, Paige Mers.
And I've been your host, Emmerich Tabor. Join us again next time here at Purchase Broadcast Studios.